Hey, what's up and how's it going, everyone? Well, I'm so glad that you have took your time to spend with me right here today on the MRB Wrestling Review Show. I am Mike Big Rock Wilson, your co-host of the MRB Wrestling Review Show, and last night was TNA Impact Wrestling. And what I really like about this show last night, it was actually a good show. It was better than last week's and the week before and the week before that. It was probably, the greatest selling show since I really can't remember when. And that's saying something from last night's episode. With that being said, the show kicked off when Bully Ray came out to the ring and practically laid out the night for aces and eights. He said that Knox, you're going to take on Chris Sabin, and that's coming up right after my promo. Anderson, you're going to be in this battle royal, and the winner gets 20 points in the Battle for Glory series, and Wes Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff are going to face the tag team champions, Gunner and James Storm, in a non-title match. So I like that, the way this is going to be, build up to something that's going to take place next week, because let's face it, we see these seeds planted with the president and the vice president, Bully Ray and Mr. Anderson. Something's going to give eventually in this storyline and how it's all going to play out. So I like that, they're going to use that first segment to its advantage to see where this night is going to go. And it's clearly obvious and cliched, but it was laid out perfectly as hell. And with that being said, we can see, Garrett and Briscoe probably going over the champs, and I'll get to that later on. And we could probably see Knox and Chris Sabin, something happening there. And with Mr. Anderson, it's like setting up that he's going to lose this battle royal in order for that to happen. He would have to get eliminated, of course, and then, words will exchange from him to Bully Ray, and something happens in the main event that causes something to happen between the president and the vice president of Aces and Eights, and I will get to that later on in this review. But first, it was the first match. It was Knox going one-on-one with Chris Sabin, and what happened at the end was that, the hammer came into play. Of course, right? Bully Ray gives Knox the hammer. He goes to use it. He misses. And you see the hammer laid out in the ring, and both guys, Sabin and Knox, go after the hammer. Sabin gets it first, hit Knox over the head, and he looked like he nailed him. And it just kind of ended from there. Knox won by disqualification. And, and they're playing out this thing with Chris Sabin, losing the title, only having it for 3 weeks, and it would make sense for him to get frustrated after that, and after losing that match via disqualification. And we see backstage, he was kind of yelling at Velvet Sky, and now it's going to get, into this personal aspect within the story, because from what I understand, those two actually do go out in real life. So I like that they're going to play on this personal issue between Chris Sabin and Velvet Sky, and it's all going to come in fruition with this Chris Sabin, the character, losing to Knox from the Aces and Eights, and we all know that, the Aces and Eights are a thorn on Chris Sabin's side, especially Bully Ray, and something's going to give with Chris Sabin. I don't know if it's going to be a heel turn, but I think something happens with Chris Sabin that causes him to go off the edge. And that was one of those things that happened on last night's show. Also last night, we see Mickie James come out and cut a promo, and this is all build up for the Knockouts Championship with her and ODB. And when she came out and got on the microphone, and I was like, oh no, this Mickey James's promo just really killed it for me, and I really didn't like the way she was speaking all the time. She said, "But seriously," way too many times, and it kind of felt all over the place as well, and it felt like this promo is going nowhere. And thank God it was interrupted by ODB, and who just came in and, provoked a thing with Mickey James, and it helps build up with this rivalry going into the next few weeks on Impact. I think this will be, the Bound for Glory match at Bound for Glory for the Knockouts champ, and I think this is the direction they might be going with. And it's a shame that Gail Kim is not involved in this rivalry with ODB and Mickey James, because she can go in the ring, man. She's incredible. And so, it's kind of unfortunate that that's not going to happen just yet. Maybe something will, who knows yet, but we'll see within the weeks to come in the Knockouts division on Impact Wrestling. Also last night, we see the 20-man Battle Royal. The winner gets 20 points. I think the right person won this, because what happened last week, even though I didn't do my review from last week, we see AJ Styles get 7 points and it never came off as great, because if he would have got a submission victory, he would have been in the Final Four. And for him to get 7 points was kind of a letback for AJ Styles. So I think what happened was they corrected a wrong from last week's show, and having AJ Styles win this gauntlet match, gain the 20 points. He's in first place with 49 points. And later on, we see him come out and challenge Austin Aries. He's the guy that chooses who he's going to face at next week at No Surrender, free on TNA Impact Wrestling. And he chose Austin Aries, and I like that he chose Austin Aries for 2 reasons. 1, those 2 guys are going to pull off an incredible match no matter what. And 2, the interesting thing is that Austin Aries has, 34 points, something like that, and for AJ Styles to challenge Austin Aries is actually pretty good, because even if Austin Aries does win via submission or pinfall, it really doesn't help him in the point system ranking in the Bound for Glory series, because if Aries does beat AJ by pinfall, he gets 42 points. With submission, he gets 45 points. And AJ has 49 points. So who's to say that, Bobby Roode is going to face... who's to say that when Bobby Roode does face Magnus in the Bound for Glory series in the semifinals, that he will gain points, but he can only get so far. He can only get up to 44 points, which is 1 point behind Austin Aries. And if Magnus beats Bobby Roode, he will gain either 46 or 49 points, which will catapult him anyway. And I think what they might go with is that Magnus will get a submission victory. I think what will happen is that Magnus will get a submission victory over Bobby Roode, gain that 49 points. AJ don't need to go anywhere. 49 points versus 49 points. There you have it. Game, match, set. So, with that being said, I think that's the direction that they might go with in the Bound for Glory series. And what was also interesting is that after AJ Styles chose that he was going to face Austin Aries, sometimes you have to make the most for everything. Get people ready to see next week's show, and I think that with the promos that Magnus and Bobby Roode delivered were very well done, and made me look forward to seeing these 2 matches next week on TNA Impact Wrestling's new free pay-per-view. And so with that being said, I am looking forward to these 2 matches. Also last night, we see Garrett Bischoff and Wes Briscoe facing Gunner and James Storm. Now, even though I was surprised that the audience didn't chant "You Can't Wrestle" to the bad guys, I like that they didn't, because, it shows, okay, these two guys are legit. So, with that being said, I like how Wes Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff cheated to win. And I think going over the tag team champs not only will help the tag team division, but it also helps within the storyline, because, we see Knox earlier getting the win over disqualification. We see Anderson get eliminated from the Battle Royal. And we see Wes Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff get the victory over the tag team champs. It helps Wes Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff be the number one contenders to the titles. And it also helps them within this write-off story for the Aces and Eights. And I will also get to that right now, because the main event was Bully Ray versus Sting in a non-title match. And what I really like about this match between Bully Ray and Sting was that before the match happened, they played on the Slammiversary, aspects, such as Sting not being in a World Championship match, because the stipulation was there for Slammiversary that if Bully Ray defeats Sting, he will never get a shot at the World Championship. And they played on that as well. They had to remind the audience of that. And here's the thing, we needed that, because, the audience does need that reminder of what happened to Sting last time he faced Bully Ray. And to add to that, Hulk Hogan came out and made this match a no disqualification, which is foreshadowing, a reversal aspect of Slammiversary, which is exactly what happened. What happened at the end was that, we see Bully Ray with the knife cut up the piece of ring and expose the wood. It was very reminiscent of Slammiversary. Almost near the pile driver, but it got avoided. The hammer comes into play. Aces and Eights come out and attack. And the interesting thing is, so did the main event Mafia. They even up the odds. And what happened at the end was that the reversal happened. Mr. Anderson. Here's the thing. When Hulk Hogan came out and made the match no disqualification, he banned Tito Ortiz from ringside, and Mr. Anderson was there anyway. And I'm surprised he didn't ban Anderson, because, okay, something's going to happen with these guys anyway. We needed Anderson to stay there in order for something to happen. And exactly what happened. Anderson gets the hammer. Looks like he's going to hand it to Bully Ray. Oh, you need the hammer, you need the hammer. Oh, he tossed it over. The pop from the crowd was absolutely incredible. And then we see, of course, Bully Ray tapping out to the Scorpion Deathlock. Sting gets the victory. And what I really like is the setup now for next week's show. Anderson comes out, talks on the mic, says that he is going to face Bully Ray for the world title. The way that was done is incredible. The old Anderson is back. And I think this will be a good write-off match. Plot point, write-off, story match for the Aces and Eights. The way that was done was absolutely amazing. And Anderson's now back to a babyface. No doubt about it. This is not a pull the wool for Bully Ray and Anderson to say, haha, we caught you. I think this is going to be the transformation from Mr. Anderson. And with that being said, I am really looking forward to this match, because the way, like I said, the way that was done was incredible. And I think that, what's going to happen is that Bully Ray, of course, will probably gain the victory next week over Anderson, because he's the guy that should go into Battle for Glory as the world champ, and then in the process rip off Anderson's patch, his name, and his occupation as vice president of the club. And I think that, that would be the right direction to go to write off this group known as the Aces and Eights. And that was my review of TNA Impact Wrestling. For the MRB Wrestling Review Show, I'm your co-host, Mike Meekrock Wilson. Get plenty of rest, and always do your best.